Hey everybody, welcome to the real United States. Welcome again to Westminster, Maryland. I'm going to do something a little bit different on this one and an experiment to see how it works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and narrate in real time while we're doing some rolling footage. So come on, let's roll through town and I'll give you a little bit of the history of Westminster, Maryland. Okay, so as you may know if you've seen the previous couple of episodes, Westminster is a relatively small town in central Maryland, about an hour or hour and a half north of the Washington, D.C. Beltway. And it is the county seat, I believe, of Carroll County here in Maryland. It is approximately 18,600 people. It was 18,500 something or other at the last census, and of course they've done some estimates. It's around 18,600 people. Relatively small town here in the United States. And you know, we try to do some small town Americana stuff. I'm taking this small detour to get some of the traffic off of me. Sorry about that. And Bev and I came up here to do a little fall shopping and check out the area. We've never been to Westminster before. See some of these beautiful old colonial buildings here. Now, Westminster's been here since the 1700s, but its real claim to fame probably happened in around the Civil War, when it was the site of a cavalry skirmish. Corbett's Charge, it was called. In 1865, the local newspaper editor, Joseph Shaw, had his presses wrecked and his business destroyed, and later he was beaten and stabbed to death by 4 men for having published an anti-Lincoln article. Because yes, there was at that time, in the late 1860s, still a lot of dissent among opinions about the abolitionists and the non-abolitionists. So the 4 men that were tried later were found, or they were acquitted, due to self-defense. Yeah, so that tells you something about the opinions of that era. Other than that, it hasn't had a real colorful past, I suppose. One of the interesting things, I suppose, about Westminster is that it has the longest continuously running Memorial Day parade. It started its Memorial Day parade in 1868, so it is the oldest continuous annual Memorial Day parade in the United States. That's always kind of neat when you can find something which is, you know, the superlative. You see much of this is the downtown area. Much of the colonial styling of the buildings still exists. Buildings very close to the street. Now, interestingly enough, although we are probably only an hour's drive from Pennsylvania Amish country, this is not Amish country. At least I haven't seen any signs of it per se. But a very quaint little town. Now, a county seat, for those of you who aren't aware, is the capital, if you will, of a county. In this case, Carroll County. Each county has what's called a county seat, which operates as the center of government for that particular county. So that's probably the reason there's, you know, a relatively good-sized town. 18,000 plus people is a relatively good-sized town here in the United States, I suppose. Many, many big cities, but you know, there's a lot of very, very microscopic towns like the one that I grew up in, which you've seen, and the one Bev grew up in. So not a terribly small town by any stretch of the imagination. Westminster also, according to a historical plaque here, says it is the first place in the nation to offer rural free delivery of the Postal Service. So if that's true. Another, I suppose, historic first for Westminster. Very cool. They've tried to maintain and, preserve the colonial charm of the place, and I just thought we'd roll through town and show you a little bit of it. Can't be quite certain what I'm getting in some of these shots here, but there are flags hanging out over. This is Main Street. There is an old stone building over here that I know Bev wants to get a look at. You notice a lot of brick, very common in this part of the country, because they make brick in this part of the country, so whence we see a lot of it. Sorry about the background noise. I had the air conditioning running. I got a little warm in the truck while the truck was sitting. And we are just about through town, so for all intents and purposes, I'm going to see if I can get turned around here. Okay, we get turn around back on Main Street coming the other direction. Not going to take you all the way back through town, but I wanted to get turned around here. Turn off on one of these side streets right here in the center of town. I think this is it. Is this it? Apparently not.
It's a very pretty town.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, this is a straight turn here.
Okay. Beautiful old architecture there. And I don't know how much of this I can actually get. I'm going to have to go and swing around and come at it from the other direction. So I'm not really sure what this building is. It looks to be some sort of well, it's a pub. It's a bar, all made out of cobblestone. Beautiful building there. It's got the old time British telephone booth, only in green. Oh, just a quaint little thing here in town. And we haven't really gotten up into the mountains yet. This would be sort of I suppose, the foothills of the Appalachians. Here in the center of town, beautiful architecture, just gorgeous. This big building that we're going to pan across right here. Just a really pretty but big old commercial building. Looks like it might have been a hotel at the turn of the previous century. And that, more or less, is Westminster, Maryland. Just another trip through small town Americana. There's City Hall and City Police. United States Post Office right here that we just went past. And so, all the typical sorts of things, but here in Maryland. And I don't know if we had done many small towns here in Maryland yet. Actually, some, but not a lot. So I wanted to share this with you. I hope you've enjoyed this trip through Westminster, Maryland. If you got questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. I love hearing from everybody. I try to get back to everybody I can. Hey, if you haven't already, pick subscribe. Come along for the adventure. We love having everybody with us. And as always, thank you for watching.